Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Asylum TV. Today we're going to be upgrading our Ford Dana 60 that we have recently put into our Jeep JK. One of the main failure points of the Dana 60 is the weak 30 spline outer shafts. Yukon was generous enough to hook us up with their 35 spline shafts to fix that problem. Good thing about these shafts is they use a full circle retaining clip on the end as opposed to the snap ring that the factory one does. When you're changing your shafts, you always want to make sure you put new U-joints in it. We're going with spicers. Price is right. They're a good strong U-joint. On the hubs, some of the key features of this hub is, as long as it's been on the market, Yukon's tracking no failures. So it's got a pretty good track record. There's a 1/3 rotation engagement to lock your hub into place. All the internals are 4130 chrome moly, as opposed to some of the other hubs on the market that use plastic, cast aluminum. They don't tend to hold up so well when you're out there beating on it. You also want to make sure you get you some good high pressure grease, because while you have your hub apart, you want to make sure you check the bearings, repack the bearings if need be, check all your seals, check your brake pads, everything you need to, because you got to take it all apart to do this upgrade. For the hub kit, it comes with everything you're going to need for your application. It's pretty simple to install. So we're going to show you how to install it, as well as using the 35 spline outer shaft. So let's get to it. Alright, we're ready to begin the installation. First thing you want to do is raise and support your vehicle so you can work on it safely. Next thing you need to do is drain your gear fluid. It's a good time to pull the diff cover, check for any odd wear in your gears, make sure your inner axle seals aren't leaking, and then you can move on to what we're doing here. We're going to start by removing the hub. Once we have the hub off, we're going to start pulling the internals so we can get this off. We're also going to remove the brake caliper. Make sure you tie your brake caliper up. We're going to hook ours here with a ratchet strap to keep it up out of harm's way while we work on this hub. While you're in here, you also want to make sure you check your bearings. They need to be repacked, they need to be cleaned, serviced, or replaced. It's a good time to do it. Alright, let's start tearing it apart. Alright, now we've got the hub removed. We're ready to pull the spindle off and the shaft out. Now that once you have your hub off, you can set it aside. And your shaft, you're just going to pull it out nice and slowly. Be careful, you don't want to damage your inner axle seal as you pull it out. So pull it out nice and slow. You'll feel once she's ready to come all the way out. Now we're ready to change our outer stub shafts. It's pretty simple. All you're going to do is remove your clips off your U-joints, press the U-joints out, put the new one on, we'll be ready to go. So we're going to get started on this. Now that you've got your new shafts pressed on to your old inners, we're ready to put it back together. Put them back together, you're just going to reverse the installation of what you did. Alright, now your hub's back assembled, your axle shaft's in, you're ready for the fun part to install your hardcore hubs. Make sure you use a good high pressure grease. We chose Royal Purple. Coat all moving surfaces inside and out with a liberal coat of grease before you put it together. Alright, now we're going to start putting it in. First piece you're going to put in is the spring retainer. This piece has a front and back. The back is the side with the indentation. You want to make sure you put it towards the inside of your hub. Next, you're going to put your spring in. You want to put your spring in, seat it against that retainer, and just move it inside and out and make sure it clears the spindle nuts and everything's nice and good. Once you have your spring set in there, you're going to take your spacer that you've generally greased. It's going to slide over the axle shaft. Push it all the way on. Make sure you also put a good coat of grease on the splines inside the hub. Now you're going to take your locking gears after you've greased them, set them inside. Make sure the teeth are engaged. Once you have that all together, you're going to push it in and slide it over the axle shaft while compressing the spring. Now you're going to install your full circle clip once you have the locking mechanism in. Make sure it fully seats in the groove. Now you want to take your cam gear, you put the ears and line them up with this. Place it in just like so. Once it's in, you're going to push pressure on it, push it inside the hub, and you're going to use your big circle clip to hold it all inside the hub. Now you're ready to install the actual locking mechanism itself. You're going to make sure you pull it apart, lubricate your O-rings very well. It'll make life much simpler when you're going to lock and unlock your hubs. Make sure you turn the hub to lock when you're installing it. You'll see the ears line up, and you're going to line these ears up with the cam gears that you just installed. This all should go together very nice and easily. If you have to force it, there's something not installed correctly, go ahead, take it apart, make sure you did it right. Once it's all done and ready, you want to test and make sure it works. We're on free now. When it's free, when you spin the hub assembly, the axle shaft should not be spinning inside here. Now we're going to take and turn it to lock. As soon as you turn the hub, you should see the axle shaft lock into place, and it'll spin as you rotate the hub. Go back to free once more, make sure it disengages. That's it. We're going to put our caliper back on, put our wheel back on, put it back on the ground. It's time to go beat these up. Alright, now that you've seen what a couple hours worth of work and getting a little bit of grease you can do, it's well worth the trouble of getting greasy to do it. You can find these parts needed from Randy's Ring and Pinion. There's also going to be a detailed photo install on jeepasylum.com. Alright, until next time, thanks for watching.